I've been working with clients as a certified hypnotherapist for the past 10 years, and I've realized that there is a really simple technique that you can use with any limiting belief, and that's what perfectionism is. Perfectionism is just the limiting belief that you are not enough just as you are, that you have to achieve more, do more, be more, because who and how you are now is not enough. It's simply a limiting belief, and as such, it's something that you can let go. Let's talk about how to let go of perfectionism. This is a technique that you can use with any limiting belief. Let's go. Okay, first step, you have to ask yourself, what is the actual story? Okay, so you already know you're a perfectionist or you wouldn't be here. But what is the story behind your perfectionism? What is it that you are telling yourself deep inside? Is it that failure is not an option? You're not allowed to make mistakes. Is it that no matter how hard you work, it will never be enough? Is it that you have to be at the top, otherwise you'll be at the bottom? There are so many different forms that perfectionism can take, so many different forms that the stories can take. But there is some sort of story or stories that you are telling yourself that are leading to you being a perfectionist. And the next step is to ask yourself where this story came from. Now, most likely, it's something that you learned from your parents or caregivers or siblings, someone really close to you as a child. And, this is not at all to blame parents. I'm a parent myself. We're just doing the best we can. But, of course, there are stories that we are going to pass down, limiting beliefs that we're going to pass down and that our parents pass down to us. And again, that's not their fault. It's really a cultural and societal issue because these stories are in our culture. They're in our society. You want to ask yourself, where did this story come from? Why do I believe this? What happened in my childhood that made me believe this? But then you're going to go a little step further. I want you to think beyond the person that this story came from. Think back to your history, your culture. What was going on? What made that person believe that, nobody was good enough? Where did they get that? Why did they have that story inside of them that they're not enough, or that mistakes are not okay, or whatever it is? Look at the history, look at the culture, look at our society. We do live in a society that is kind of designed to make us burn out, to make us feel like we're not good enough, right? Look back at our culture and see what was going on there. The third step is to ask yourself, what story would I rather believe? Okay, so you don't want to be a perfectionist anymore. You don't want to believe that no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough. You don't want to believe that failure is not an option. What would you rather believe? And what is in alignment with who you truly are? So that doesn't mean just taking the limiting belief, I'm never going to be enough, and turning it around and saying, I'm always enough. Well, maybe, but only if you truly believe that. So take some time, get yourself grounded, go for a walk, meditate, just take some deep breaths, whatever you need to do, and really think about what would I rather believe? What story would I rather believe that is actually in alignment for me? Once you have that figured out, I want you to come up with some sort of statement, some sort of affirmation for yourself. Because the next step is the hardest step. That is figuring out how to live that belief, whatever your new belief is. Figuring out how to live that belief when you probably are living in a society, in a culture that is not going to support that. Because let's face it, we do live in a culture that supports perfectionism, that supports, working and working and working until you burn out, that supports being afraid of making mistakes. And so if you are going to change your limiting belief, you're going to have to figure out, how do I get this ingrained? How do I really hypnotize myself to believe that enough is enough, to believe that mistakes are part of the journey, to believe that I'm good enough just as I am, whatever it is that you are changing that limiting belief around to be. And you want to change it around to be an expansive belief. Instead of something that's limiting you, something that's helping you to expand. So, what is the story you're telling yourself? What's the story behind your perfectionism? Where did that come from, both on a personal level and on a cultural level? What would you rather believe? And 4, how do you live in that new expansive belief, even if the rest of the world isn't there yet? The answer to that is not just one answer, it's many answers, because there are so many things that you can do to really get that new belief inside of you. You can meditate on it. You can go to a hypnotist. You can go to a therapist and work with them on it. You can do affirmations. You can say affirmations. You can write affirmations down. You can create a vision board. I have literally 4 vision boards in my office. You can create a vision board that has your affirmation on it and has images on it. You can find social media that supports your new belief. Go out and find people who are talking about this idea, whatever it is, of, being enough just as you are. Basically, what you need to do is kind of hypnotize yourself, because you've been raised with this other belief. You've been raised with this idea that you are not enough, that you have to be perfect. And we have this whole society that supports that. And so if you want to change that, and you have this new belief that you want to ingrain in yourself, you're going to have to really affirm that for yourself every day. So saying those affirmations, writing them down, doing your meditation, taking action that aligns with this new belief. So instead of overworking and staying until midnight getting something done, stopping when it's time to stop and just saying, okay, good enough is good enough. I'm done. Looking at all the areas of your life where perfectionism is holding sway for you right now, and figuring out, what would it look like if I were really living in this new expansive belief of mine? What would that be like? And then actually making the choice to practice that every day. And it is a practice. It's something that will take time, but you can get there. If this is something that you want to go even deeper into, I have a whole course called Stop the Burnout Cycle. It is for women who really want to look at the limiting stories that have been holding them back, like these stories of perfectionism, and helping them to go through these questions and to really start living the new beliefs that they would rather be living from, the new stories that they would rather be living from. If you have any more questions about how to stop being a perfectionist, any tangents, any ideas that came out of this, leave them in the comments below. And if you are new here, my name is Iris Higgins, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I post guided meditations, hypnosis audios, and little tips like this one. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.